In this podcast, we will be looking at how resistance is a constant in life and how we can use it to our advantage. Welcome to Health for the Spirit, Soul and Body podcast, where we teach simple concepts and practical ideas we can apply to our whole being to keep us in good health. Before we go on, please support us by taking a few seconds to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more messages. How can we define resistance, or what is resistance? It is an act or an instance of resisting, as opposition. It's also regarded as an opposing or retarding force. In electricity, resistance is defined as the opposition offered by a body or substance to the passage of current through it, electric current. Now, one of the things I do in order to understand the word is to look at the synonyms. When I look at the synonyms of a word, it gives me context and a way to understand it better. And the synonyms, or words with similar meaning as resistance, include opposition, objection, protest, defiance, disobedience, non-compliance, reservation, and misgiving. There are many other words, but these give us an idea of what resistance is. Resistance is something that is inevitable. Like I said in the beginning, it's like a constant of life. We all experience resistance when we are trying to do something that matters. And this I find to be even so true. The more serious it is what we are doing, the more resistance that we encounter. In leadership circles, as a student of leadership and as I learn more, I find that whenever a change is to be made, resistance is always there. There is always resistance to change. In fact, it's been said even that everybody resists change. The only thing about leaders is that leaders don't resist change because it is coming from them. If there were change coming from another circle, that leader may also resist that change. So resistance is almost constant. So when we expect that there will be resistance, it will help us handle the situation more positively, and we'll be able to use the resistance to our advantage. Resistance is not always bad. Resistance can be good and resistance can be bad. An example of good resistance is the resistance of water against the being pushed out of an engine or through a propeller propelling a ship forward. Another example concerning a ship is when there's wind coming against a ship. If the sails are opened, the resistance of the sail to wind will propel or move the ship forward in the water. Another very good resistance or example of resistance is air resistance when an aircraft puts out its wings and angles it right. As it moves forward with speed, the air resistance gives it a lift, and it uses the resistance against its forward movement by air to lift itself up to be able to fly. Now, if we don't put it into perspective that resistance is inevitable, we will misunderstand it the way it happened to me. Now, there was a plan I had to be able to bring certain content and do some research. And so somebody whom I believed would be a mentor, someone I believed will encourage me, I shared the vision with the person. And the person so downplayed and condemned what I shared with this person that I abandoned it entirely. I didn't understand it, but because of that resistance to what I proposed or what I thought was good, I left it alone. And at the end of the day, I found others doing it and they were progressing. Meanwhile, I left what I was supposed to do alone because I met one resistant person whom I depended on. So resistance could be used in a positive way. One practical example of how to use resistance positively in our lives is to resist the devil as a Christian. James chapter 4 verse 7 says, "Submit yourselves therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you." Another way is to expect resistance like a ship or an airplane. And so when you move forward, when an aircraft is slow, there is no resistance. Usually, in order for the aircraft to move as fast or fast enough to gain lift, the wings are in a particular position that is aerodynamic, and so it moves forward. And when it gets to the optimum speed, then it raises or deploys the flaps to bring up or angles the wings to put it in an angle so that instead of resistance slowing its speed down and keeping it down, the resistance will lift it up and it will be able to fly. And so when there's resistance against things that you do, you can use it because you expect it and be able to propel yourself forward with it. Just like the wind that comes against a ship. If the wind is blowing against the ship, even if it is in the opposite direction, if the sail is angled right, it will propel the ship forward. In order to use resistance positively, it must be analyzed. And so, if you encounter resistance, you need to check, why is the resistance there? What is the resistance about? And then reconsider what you are doing, determine if you need to move forward or not, and what you need to adjust. Most likely, something will need to be adjusted before we move forward. And so, it's important that, just like I was paralyzed by a fear after listening to what a person who is supposed to have been a mentor told me, let us not be paralyzed by fear. We should use resistance as a motivation to dig in and move forward in the things we have to do. And so, whatever we do in life, let us expect resistance and let's be able to go forward in spite of resistance. And as we do this, we'll be blessed in Jesus' name. If you gained something from this teaching, don't forget to like it, subscribe to our channel, and share with others. Thank you.